So this is in the Pursuit of Joy podcast. Thank you for joining me. Kind of going off the rails a little bit tonight. I think it's Monday. I've lost track. I have to keep looking at my calendar. Yep, it is Monday. It should be 8 p.m. Eastern, and you are here. And it's this whole week has been a doozy. In particular, since Thursday. The whole weekend, actually. It reminds me that song that Marilyn Monroe sings. After you get what you want, you don't want it. From There's No Business Like Show Business. That was in 1954. So it got me thinking. I don't know how. It just popped into my mind, so I had to look it up. And I know it's one of those sexy cabaret tunes that she would sing in a movie, and the rich guy it's lusting after her, and there's competition for the beautiful woman, and so on and so forth. So it's about the pursuit of something, and we go after stuff: money, love, position of authority, recognition, whatever it is that we're after. And I find myself kind of in a perfect storm in the past few days, whereby I had every opportunity to make a sound decision, something that was kind of grown up and cool, calm, collected, and it would have been appropriate to what was going on at the time. And in spite of having all these options available to me, even I err quite a bit, so it's not like I'm perfect or anything, but maybe somebody else can learn from this. I went ahead and did a complete opposite. I did not ask for help when help was available. I did not speak up when I felt, this is I'm way in over my head. In fact, I'm way out of my league, if that's even possible. But, sometimes we have to be honest with ourselves. We can't be good at everything. I'm not saying that we cannot master something new. And I encourage people to try something scary, which I did every day. Maybe not every day, maybe every week. Just try something really, really new and an alien to your life that will make you uncomfortable. And boy, did I make myself uncomfortable this week. I kind of have to chuckle about it because it's still not over. I guess next Monday you'll find out. We'll probably talk about it. It involves the loss and then the purchase of a new car. And the loss of a car was mainly because I traded in an older, not very old, and the year-old car for a new one. And that was probably not the best thing to do. It's what happened afterwards that kind of, set up this whole perfect storm thing. Put me on a really rocky path. So yeah, it's the weather's looking pretty nasty right now, so I'm just gonna have to ride out that storm and see what happens. So who knows? Who's to know what kind of a mental state I'm gonna be in next week? But it should be interesting. I look forward to finding out probably in the next 48 hours what's going on. I don't have possession of either vehicle right now. So like I said, I'm going to talk about it next week. I should do an example of sheer stupidity and lack of intuition. Just when in doubt, think it over. It doesn't have to rhyme. So the situation has been kind of peeling even more layers of fake security from my mind. And I'm pretty out in the open. I mean, I'm pretty much flushed out from the defensive position. So I find that to be, I'm kind of pissed about it, but at the same time, it's kind of a gift because now my mind, the voices in my head, I fighting big time. Like they're all jockeying for supremacy of my life. And somebody's gonna win. It's gonna have to be me, and I don't seem to have a particular strategy other than not do the things that I always do. So it's good to push ourselves into not being ourselves, because that self, whatever self you had yesterday, that's gone. Even from day to day, we die. You know, we go to bed and we die, and we wake up the next morning, and we're somebody else, completely different person. And I'm not talking about going from being, a normal mind to being totally psychotic or anything like that. Though right now, in the past few days, it kind of felt like I wanted to go have a psychotic episode. Yeah, not voluntarily, just go crazy, just to see whatever that means, whatever you think crazy is, but just totally off the deep end. Just let it all hang out and just break down. And I find myself for like about 2 seconds talking to someone on the phone, just being whiny, needy little bitch. And I thought, don't make any more phone calls. Just hang up. Don't be so damn needy. Just find a solution. I found solutions to things that, jams that I gotten myself into. Because I'm usually the only one who gets me into a jam. I mean, that's I take responsibility. It is, which is nice. Not saying that taking responsibility for being stupid is a good thing. That first and foremost, we should always strive to avoid being stupid in the first place. Just acting foolishly and just not really giving anything that we do any thought. So there's that. But about this has to do more. This whole theme tonight is about the wishing and the wanting of something really bad, or at least willing it into existence. So I'm not going to show you a picture of the car. This is actually something that I talked to you about manifestation, and the car does exist. I mean, I told myself just not 3 days ago, this is the car that you imagined. You designed it. You created it. Somebody else built it, of course. I don't have all the components of a car, but it was built for me to my specifications. I looked at, whatever they had on the dealership's website. I'm working with a capable, salesperson, and we're just talking about, what we could have, and I designed it kind of on a whim. I'm not going to go into detail about the whim. I mean, I had a perfectly great car. I was very happy. I just loved it. And there was another one that was an upgraded version of it that was already in the works, but because of the supply and demand going on with my computer chips and stuff like that, components that came from China and whatnot they were at a standstill for a while, and cars were being built, but they were not shipped out to dealers because there were no chips. You can't run them without computers. I mean, unless you have an old-fashioned car or a pickup, something from the 50s that doesn't have a computer in it, then you got a problem. So that's why you can't find even a used car right now. A used car is fetching as much as a new car. So given our economic situation right now, so this is going back like maybe a year, roughly about maybe 14 months. And I got the car, one that I wanted. It's off the lot. I had it delivered and not custom made and all that. And I was very happy, very pleased. I traded, I sold the old pickup that I had for over 10 years, and that served me well, but it was going to be more expensive to keep it. You know how it is with car maintenance and all that. After a while, even just like things that we do in life, you keep feeding into it, and after a while that model doesn't work. Our way of life and the things that we do. So it's the same thing with a car. Same principle. I had to, I didn't want to put more money into it. I might as well just get a car payment again. Not something that I wanted, but it was necessary. And I was very just pleased as punch. If you've been to my YouTube channel, I've gone on the road. I've taken a couple of road trips with a car, and the car was wonderful. Handled really well on the road. an all-terrain vehicle. I just had such a great time with it. And I waited 20 years to get a new car, and that was it. And technically, I really had no need for another car for a while, but it's in wanting things, and I'm not against wanting things bigger and better. But it's a car is a car. It's a commodity. The cars are always going to be expensive purchases, but they seem to be necessary. The places where I've lived, there's no way to get to and from anywhere, including work if you have a job, unless you have a car. And I don't really advocate for having public transport everywhere you go. I mean, you got to be able to fend for yourself, because we're here on the mission here on Earth. Really, in my estimation, is that we all gotta do ourselves. What we have to do to survive and thrive and all that, not just to get by. And I seem to be rambling a little bit, but point being that we get things that we think we want, and then we end up just kind of stepping on the cow shit. I've done that. That's unpleasant. Me just stepping in a pile of cow shit, and it's just I know, hopefully you had dinner already. I don't get squeamish. If you are squeamish, I apologize. It didn't come out of the blue. It's just talking about something really uncomfortable and really, unsavory feeling. And that definitely delivers that imagery that I'm looking for. It is just unpleasant. So when we do really dumb things and we don't think them through, that feeling of unpleasantness it's overwhelming. And we have to fight it. It's one of those that tell your own mind, look, okay, screwed up. This is screwed up, but you got to press on. You got to move through it. There's not much that can be done. Can you work around it? What's going on right now? Probably not. There are other options to having a car back, but I ended up having 2 cars ordered. So I'll tell you a little bit about the story. And one was custom. Actually, they're both custom builds. And I've only owned one vehicle, my truck that I bought many years ago, and that truck was old. It was used. And that was the only vehicle I've ever owned that I drove that wasn't brand new. Not saying that I'm well-to-do or anything. I'm just saying that I didn't buy a car that was not ordered to some specifications. So my first car was like that. It was designed for me. It was kind of like a blackberry purple, and it was beautiful. And I loved it had beautiful seats, and I still remember it. It was a big thrill for my first car purchase, and subsequent cars were pretty much the same. And I went about 20 years before I finally liked the car that I wanted to buy. So when I sold the truck, I ended up with the hottest car in the market, and they were just coming out, and I got my hands on one, and for a while I felt special. I love driving it. It's reliable, and especially in winter in Virginia. Virginians do not know how to drive. They panic at the slight sense or threat of a raindrop hitting the asphalt, and when we get some pretty nasty ice storms, and sometimes up in the Shenandoah Valley as well, it gets pretty icy and slick roads, and folks just don't know how to drive. They freak out, and they're very dangerous, and that's the point I'm trying to make. And so you want at least a car that handles the 4 seasons, but kind of 4 seasons with the added danger of other Virginians out on the road. So my car was definitely all-terrain, and I really enjoyed it. So there's no need whatsoever for me to trade it in or to sell it. I really loved it. But these 2 cars were already in the pipeline, and for some strange reason, this is how it is that it works in the universe, you can't control it. Set it out, design the second car. The first car was already supposedly being delayed in production because they're that popular and whatever. They have a backlog, so I did not count on getting the larger version of my car delivered to me until sometime maybe later on this year or next year, maybe springtime. And I was happy about that because it would buy me some time. because I had to readjust financing and all that stuff, and I was in no hurry to get it. I was pretty happy with the the small version of the car. And the second car was something that was designed on a whim, because we could, and I thought, well, since the big car is going to take forever to get here, maybe I'll go ahead and design a new one. And then it turns out both of them were delivered within a few days of each other, way sooner than I expected. This is talking about 3.5 weeks ago. And then I found myself in a position where I have to choose between two cars, or no car at all. I mean, one I put down money on, the other one was a design that I didn't have to put down any money on. So I think that wasn't fully deposited, but the first one was. And then, and this isn't about greed. I just have to make a matter of economics. I mean, how much more do I want to pay for a new car? So I was kind of delaying having to make that decision, because I really loved the car that I had, and but like I said, used cars are really in high demand right now. People are looking for them, not wanting to invest in new cars. So that's where we're at right now. So I found myself looking at both cars the week after. I got emails, frantic emails and phone calls, and I've been busy at work, and finally I broke down and I went to the dealer, and kind of reluctantly. I really wanted to avoid having to be near either one of those cars. Both beautiful. The first one, there was something that I rejected it for, that I did not order, that for some reason, maybe it was availability, something, and it's all terrain, but it had a soft top like a Jeep, and I hate that. I like a quiet ride. I've driven military vehicles for many years. I don't want a loud car. If I wanted a Jeep, I would have bought a Jeep. So I kind of rejected it on. That's the one that was fully deposited. So I created that car. So I had a picture of it on my vision board, which I normally don't do vision boards. I do vision books, but I had an abbreviated version of the book, where I had just a handful of things that I was kind of looking forward to accomplishing in the past year and a half. So that car was indeed delivered. So I did not take possession of it. I did not bring it home. But it exists. I mean, you create it. I mean, the car wouldn't have existed. I mean, there it was in the parking lot, and I decided, well, do you want to drive it? I'm like, no, because we checked it out and looked at it, and then we went to the other car. The other car is a sports car. I'm not going to reveal exactly which one it is yet. And it is a stick shift, something that I wasn't really well versed in for a long time. So somebody always avoided selling me a car that was a manual transmission, because for some reason car salesmen don't like to sell a stick shift to women. They want to give them more expensive automatic transmission. It is great to be knowledge to be gained and skill by learning to drive a manual transmission vehicle. It's actually a good skill to have, and so I avoided getting one. So this one happened to be, because sports cars, you need to have them as a stick shift. I could have just went the other way like most people and just got myself the same version of the car in an automatic transmission, and just be the usual all around driver that would drive an automatic car. I went the other way. It dropped the price plus the price of purchase, but in its resale value, given the way the economy is going and everything else, these cars, even on sale, I could probably fetch a whole lot more. I mean, it's got leather seats and all that stuff. I just went out because we just designed them for fun, and then we found ourselves having a real car delivered. So these things that happen, they do come true. So I have it so I have that one car in particular. I was kind of sort of excited that this would be the next car, even though I had the other one, because like I said, I did not expect one to be delivered before the other, given all the all the delays that they had for production. So I figured that the smaller, faster car would probably land sooner. It landed much sooner than I expected. So I found myself totally unprepared to handle two new cars. And I could have just said, look, it's a matter of economics. I don't want to put in that much money. I'm happy with the one I got. I'm sorry. It happens. So be it. I mean, they had offers on this one car. And they were not selling it because, it had my name on it. So I sat there for about 2 weeks till I decided to show up to go look at it. Took a ride in it, took a spin in it. I got to try it on for size. I did not feel like it was me in the car, and I maybe have to go into more depth about that next week. I wasn't happy about the car being there. I know it was strange. It's like I was facing something. I don't know what it is. It's like when you see somebody that you really want to avoid, and you're like, I got to be in the room with this person. That's exactly the feeling I got with this car, just looking at it. Like, you want to come outside and take a look at your car. And I'm like, okay, I suppose I should go out there and take a closer look. And it's beautiful. It's just absolutely beautiful. I looked at it inside and out. And like I said, I took a ride. I actually got to test drive a little bit. Not the greatest driving experience, because it was just checking it out. And I was not ready to take delivery on either one. The other car, yeah, I could have just gotten in and drove it and sold the older one and paid the difference, which is what I would have to do with either one anyway. And I'm not saying it's buyer's remorse. It's more like not really impressed with how I've handled things. And like I said, I go back to that statement I said earlier, how I find myself making some phone calls when something went terribly wrong. And I was just a whiny, needy, just little bitch. Just, I need this, I need that, and I don't know what to do, instead of just shutting up and just thinking. Because thinking, people will do anything that they have to think. I've been paid to think before, believe me. It is a complex process, but once we realize that thinking is not painful, it's very enjoyable. I was not thinking. I was not enjoying that process. I was more feeling. I worked some long hours too. Had just gotten off work, and I got dressed. Washed my hair, put on some makeup and something relatively nice, and headed out. And I'm feeling like I'm being kind of nudged into getting the car, even though my car is perfectly fine. I could have just said, look, I know I could have just played the bitch and said, no, I don't think I want to get into another car right now. I don't think it's going to work out for me. And it happens, and cars can be sold. Now, they're just going to have to mark it up. But the second car, yeah, I would get a buyer quickly. I'm pretty sure of that. That car is currently in the shop. And I don't have a car, so I've been using the kind people who actually drive for a living. Some Lyft or Uber rides to work, and I'm waiting to hear from the mechanics to see what kind of how this perfect storm is shaping up. It's not quite over yet. So as I'm speaking to you, I'm waiting. I'm gonna have to call in the morning and see how this car is faring, and then also to see how I'm faring, because I admit that I'm definitely, I'm not going to say I'm under repairs, but I'm definitely under renovation. Renovations, self-realization, whatever you want to call it. So self-improvement really is like a renovation project. If you're tearing down your kitchen to put in new cabinets, then you're improving. So here, I'm not sure how I'm improving, but I'm talking about it just the same, in case you ever find yourselves to be stuck. Something you've done or you're currently doing, and then you're still waiting to hear how that wave of the response from what you did or didn't do is coming at you. It's delayed. It's a delayed response, and it's actually kind of unnerving, because it's really hard to tell when is it going to hit. To me, if it just hits me immediately, then I figure, okay, this really sucks. I don't like it, but I'm gonna have to see if I can navigate through it. And in this case, there are many scenarios going on, and then which I triggered myself naturally, because I was doing that. What would life be without drama? So one would hit the fan maybe tomorrow or the next day, hopefully sooner. I haven't heard anything today. My phone has not rung at all. And it's Monday, so I'll wait another day to find out about the car. So I'm without a car, and I'm getting the sensation that I'm not going to be coming out of this the winner anyway. Well, we shall see. I don't want to play into, what's happening in the future because I'm not there yet. So there's reminds me of a quote by. I've been looking at quotes by poets. I wasn't never really that big on poetry, except until I hit high school, and there's a lot of philosophy involved in poetry, and I've written some of it myself. Eventually, I broke down and I did some of that, but it's by Marcel Pagnol. I guess he's French, and it goes something like, the reason people find being happy so difficult is due to imagining that the past was much better than it was, and then their current present is worse than it really is, and then that the future is much more complicated than it will be. So even though, and I agree with that, and even though if you're following a pattern of behavior, or you seeking certain sensations or experiences, and you've been there before, that's the problem with familiarity breeds complacency, because we find the patterns that we've gotten ourselves into before pleasing. The brain finds it, I wouldn't say pleasing because the brain doesn't have any feelings, but it finds it acceptable. It's programming. It says it recognizes a pattern and it adopts that pattern and wants to maintain it because it's continuity. And it seems that's the logical thing that the brain seeks. It's the rest of our minds that have to fight that programming. And so I'm no better. I may teach it. I may show it to other people. This is how you improve yourself. I do hit some snags from time to time. Sometimes I hit them all one in a row. Many in a row. You've seen Homer Simpson sometimes, like he falls out off a cliff, and he hits every single tree branch and rock on his way down. And that's just very old episode, probably from season 1. And then he gets they get him on a paramedics get him onto a stretcher, and then they load him up to the back of the ambulance, and then the ambulance hits a tree, trying to speed away, and then out comes Homer and still on the back of the stretcher, and he goes down that same hill again, it's tied up to a stretcher, and he's still hitting every single tree branch and every single rock along the way. And so that's pretty much how staying in established and recognizable patterns can keep us from making any progress. Like, what am I learning from what I've been doing in the past week? And part of my brain won't shut up about it because it's been telling me, I told you so. It keeps saying, I told you so. That's my alarm. I told you so. I told you so. I'm like, why would you do this? I mean, it was like the solution was like right there. All you had to say is no. Sometimes you got to deny yourself what you think the solution is. You just have to say no. This is not going to work out for me financially today. And this explain calmly and logically. This is why I'm making a decision not to proceed. And I want to thank you for your effort. And I'm walking away now. We'll see you next time. And it's not going to make you popular, but people most of the time will understand. And if they don't, that is of no consequence to you. It shouldn't be, because I'm pretty sure they're used, especially in sales. These people, they're used to being told no. You give a great pitch, you offer a great product and benefits of the product and all that stuff. Stuff that if you do marketing, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And I'm learning a lot about marketing. The marketing of the idea that how easily I just talked myself into making a terrible decision. I did not go through the benefits of having something new. There was no benefit whatsoever other than doing it on a whim. So let's take a quick analysis of that. It was there. I felt an obligation that, this person's going to make a commission. I'm all for helping people make money. I should help myself make more money, but I'd like to be able to be of help, but that's not my responsibility. That person has to be able to shoot back in some ideas and say, hey, there are more benefits to this. We can do a better deal. And then we can go back and forth. But there are two elements that I failed to address at the time with regards to getting a vehicle. And so I lost the first one and the deposit for that one. And I should have accepted the delivery of that vehicle and figured out the financial changes and all that in the contract, because I was selling one as a trade-in. So maybe I was thinking, I didn't want high, car payments or whatever was going on in the back of my mind that kept me from accepting it. I should have accepted delivery of the first vehicle because I had been waiting a year for it. And when it dropped, it dropped. That's it. The second one, totally surprised how they can crank out a car that quickly. I say 90 days. I don't even think it was 100 days, to be honest. And I'm not saying that it has any defects, but it may be, it could be operator headspace. I'm pointing at myself. If you're not watching me on YouTube tonight, I'm pointing at my own head. Operator headspace, we say that in government, military, in some circles. It's got to be you. It's got something that I thought that I didn't do. I can blame myself, but I did not feel like I belonged in that car, and that car didn't seem to as I'm wrapped around this vehicle, I did not feel a sense of comfort and actually joy. People get a new car, they're excited. I was just like, oh, so there you are. Or here we meet again. A week after I saw the car the first time, I saw it again. I was still not excited. I know I've just got off work and I was tired. I was going on close to 24 hours without sleep. So brain was not in its best shape, but my mind was thinking like, why, I just want to go back to bed right now. I wanted to think it over, and there was really little to think about. So we wish of things. Be careful when you wish and you actually put it on a screensaver on your computer or your wallpaper for your phone. I suppose I could show you. I don't know if you can see it. And there's a car. Yes, very nice. It's got a name. That's the name of the color. That's the name of the color. And it's quite beautiful. People are crazy about it. I was just probably not I was probably the only person that was not nuts about it. Like I liked it, but I didn't love it, and I cannot explain it. So we'll see. And I know I've been rambling on about owning a car or not owning one, but this is a lesson that applies to other things. Like what am I pursuing in life, and how am I learning to feel uncomfortable with complacency, where we get caught doing the same things over and over. We just change scenarios. Like today could be about that car. That was just not necessarily buyer's remorse, because I like the look of it. I think I'd like to see myself in it, but once I sat in it, I'm just like, ooh, this is a really strange sensation. I don't feel like I'm the person that drives this car. Something very alien, and I'm pretty sure I'll figure out why that is. The other cars, I felt perfectly comfortable, lots of room. It's how it was designed, and I was very happy, just dying to be able to get in the car and drive it. And it's not like the most expensive car in the whole world. It wasn't a luxury car or anything. I just loved it. I loved driving. It maneuvers well, and the safety features are fantastic. And I just felt that for a change, I didn't have to run off the road on an icy morning coming home from work or traveling someplace, because it's going to handle. I knew it was going to handle. Adverse road conditions. And so our minds should be able to handle adverse life conditions. They're out there anyway. They're, like I said, I've always described it as being on a highway, and you got to choose the lane that you're in. And if you just change lanes for some reason, and you get in that lane where shit's just always hitting the fan, everything that comes at you is going to be negative. Or at least not something that you're going to like. Everything's logically going to be in that lane anyway. This is you place yourself there. So when do you put your little signal on? You should always put your signal on. When do you put your signal on that you're dissatisfied? And I've talked about this with the transformative lessons, and I have to revise them myself. I talked about accountability a couple of weeks ago, didn't I? Owning up, and I mean tonight is a really big owning up for me, and I want to to disclose that to you, not because I'm not owning it up enough on my own, but that hopefully some lesson can be derived from this, and before any of you listening would even be placed in a situation like the one I'm in right now. So the situation really is not knowing, which is okay. You never know what's coming at you, but if you see a pattern and it seems to be coming at you and it's familiar, you want to get away from it. Like if you lose your job, the first thing that happens, you're going to lose the place you live. It happens a lot. You should expect that something may happen. I'm not saying that I'm jinxing. I'm not saying that I have a negative mind. I'm just saying that some of these things are logical. Sometimes when you lose a job, you find another one. You have to find the freedom to say, you know what, I'm going to relax. It happened to me. I'm going to find something else I think is going to bring me some joy, or at least I'm going to derive some sort of a, reward, something, or it's just going to be more relaxed for me. And it's not going to be in the rat race anymore. May not make as much money, but I'm going to find some level of happiness and satisfaction from that activity. So the breakup should always be considered the blessing, because that's an opening. And so I have to look at it from the eyes of someone who's always thinking that I know this is really challenging right now, and I'm not really necessarily enjoying it and feeling the love, but I have to enjoy the experience. Enjoy something negative? No, but enjoy the fact that I can have experiences and that I can meditate on them, and then I can hopefully find ways to overcome and then move on to a next stage. And so, the example of a car, when you wish on something and you put pictures of it and your subconscious gets to it, you end up getting that one thing you were not sure about. So that second car, I had the picture of that. And I just kept the picture of the first one that I had designed and fully deposited on. And I lost that deposit, by the way, because I didn't get the car. So I'm sure they're not going to give me that money back. I did not ask, but I'm pretty sure that's how it's going to end up. So I have it on your screensaver. You got it on. I made it really nice. You saw my phone, my wallpaper, and you see it every day. Your mind is going to be set. You've already pre-programmed your mind to go for that. And even though my heart was telling me, intuition's like, I don't like it. It's beautiful. I don't like it for us. I don't know what it is about it. I don't know what it is. But sitting in it and driving it a little bit, and then just actually being having somebody else drive it for you, make a passenger, just to soak it all in, it did not inspire me. And in spite of all that, I went ahead and went for it, because, hey, it's right here on my phone. So not exactly sure how to explain this to you, that's more broken down than this. If you want something really bad, when you write it down on a piece of paper and you do your affirmation that this is what I want, or you put a picture of it, your brain will actually start changing, because you see it every day. It's on my phone, it's on my computer screen, it's on my desktop. And sometimes in the middle of the night, that computer is nearby. I shouldn't have a computer near me when I'm sleeping, but it is what it is. And sometimes it's a Mac, so sometimes it wakes itself up for some reason. Even though I lock the screen at night, I don't put it to sleep, and it will show the desktop. And I would look over, see a little bit of faint light, and I would just wake up and see the car right there staring back at me. And pardon me. And it's reinforced. So at the end of the day, the one thing that I chose, in spite of all the logical thinking, in spite of all the misgivings, all the hormones of emotions feeding the thought process at the time, that it did not arrive at the really logical outcome, because I chose the one thing that I was most uncomfortable with. And I will go into that next week about why I'm uncomfortable about getting that beautiful sports car. Not saying that I will never, ever, ever own a sports car again. I still kind of sort of own it. I just don't have possession of it right now. We'll see what's going on with it. But that sense of misgiving, that should tell you not leaping for joy. even though you're tired from a shift, and you get dressed trying to make yourself uplifted. It's kind of like meeting your ex and thinking you're gonna, have you ever done that? Because I haven't. I never wanted to rekindle anything with that guy, but anybody else. But mainly it's, do you want to dress up and just impress them? I impress them with how successful I am, but not to get back together. But ultimately there would not even be an encounter. And once it's already left and passed, we shouldn't really go back to something that's done. In this case, and I want to keep reiterating that point, that if you're not feeling joyful and just really expectant, like something was delivered, but sometimes because it's delivered doesn't mean it's the right thing. But not listening to intuition causes the situation that I'm experiencing. So, not necessarily buyer's remorse, somebody twisted my arm, but like I said, I had choices, I had options and time, and I did not make use of them wisely. It kind of got me off guard when I had 2 cars delivered at the same time, and that between other things going on, and just kind of made that decision process a little bit not so good. Yeah, I can say that. So just like the song that hopefully you heard it. If not, just go on YouTube. It's Marilyn Monroe. It's a great song. She does it's a cabaret dance. She wears a beautiful gown. It's after you get what you want, you don't want it. I thought that was Cole Porter, one of just wonderful songs. But it's so good. You pursue and pursue, and not saying I can't. I wasn't telling myself before I go, hey, I can't wait to get that car. I'm just dying to get that car. I was not saying that. The picture alone reinforces how you're going to behave. So I want you to kind of take that with a grain of salt tonight, and if you have any manifestation boards or anything like that. That's a good witchcraft right there. I'm not saying witchcraft in a derogatory way. I'm just saying that sound magic, that sound, energy, this power, and you have to be very smart in how you wield that power. So use caution when you actually picture the things that you're looking to have, in addition to writing, manifestations and words. So I'm gonna let that go, because I gotta wrap this up. I want to thank you for joining me. This is In the Pursuit of Joy. Yeah, it doesn't sound like I'm very joyful. I'm kind of smiling because this is all part of the game. So we'll see. This is all simulation. Let's see what kind of level I rise to, or do I have to start this game over again? We shall see. So with that said, I wish you the best week possible. It's going to be a short work week. I only get to work 3 days. That's so nice. And get paid for a 4th. That's the new job. And I will see you again next Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, in the Pursuit of Joy podcast. Be joyful. I mean, what else is left? Might as well laugh it off. Good night.